Ex-neckbeards of Reddit, when did you realize you were one of those guys? Any cringe-worthy stories you'd like to share? Early last year when my girlfriend at the time broke up with me, I thought I was so unbelievably awesome that it was her mistake. Looking back at the way I acted, I realize I was a total tool at the time. It took a lot of self-examination for me to realize talking down to people and treating them like garbage isn't a way to make friends or really have anyone like you. I have dated two of you. One of them is a friend of mine now. He is a better person. The other, he's going to end up in jail from his inability to believe he could be wrong. I was quite the neckbeard throughout high school. I was really overweight, so I subconsciously thought by sounding smart it would make up for it. I wasn't very bright. As for an embarrassing story, there was a period of a few months where I called every girl I knew by lady, not making that crap up. I only call guys lady, it gets much better responses. I own a fedora, or a twilby or flick whatever. I got it because I was in a jazz band and I thought it would be appropriate and make me cooler. It did neither. Going home, listening to jazz and practicing and playing better solos made me cooler. Also, I went through a phase where whenever I got rejected I would blame the girl by saying I was friend-zoned. It was her fault for not seeing my qualities. Apparently, I think I'm out of that phase. Oh dear, I hope I am. My biggest fear is that I'm still awkward as before, but I just don't know it. I'm a field biologist during the summer, and this past summer I decided to take the opportunity to grow out my beard, because that's a few less items in my field gear. It went okay, but two stories come to mind that made me question the way I present myself. I was asked if I was on my way to Burning Man. I shaved that afternoon. I was told I looked techie at a small museum. Those local history museums some small towns have. They asked if I could fix their AV system at a small museum. I did. They asked if I could fix their AV system at a small museum. I did. Well, at least after you dressed up for it, you rose to the occasion. A girl that I crushed on for 3 years commented on one of my Instagram posts featuring a cannoli saying OMG gimme. Me and all of my neckbeard attitude figured it would be wise to buy another and drive to her house after school, give it to her, surprise her, have her fall hopelessly in love with me, and we would ride my Segway into the sunrise. I bought it. It melted in my car. I got lost. Arrived at her house 2 hours later. Turns out she wasn't there. So I drive to her friend's house. 2 hours later again, the cannoli now bears little resemblance to its true form. Arrive, sweating like a pig, hand her the floppy limp dong of a dessert to her, stand there awkwardly for 5 minutes, then drive all the way back home. Make a bad luck Brian meme feeling sorry for myself. I'm sorry, but I literally had to shut my laptop. I cringed so hard at this. Was into our way too much skipping duty and work. Ignoring responsibility. The South Park episode premiered with the fat dude who wore a wrist brace and a chip bowl on his lap and a greasy shirt playing WoW with no joy, just emotionless boredom clicking away. I looked down to see a bowl of chips I didn't even remember getting myself and a shirt I had wore for 3 days. Got up mid-raid on Hugh who 30%, got a shower uninstalled, left a goodbye message on our guild's forum. 6 months later I had a girlfriend again and suddenly wasn't blaming everyone else for my depression and loneliness. Oh god, haha. I can imagine that episode must have hit home for a lot of people and encouraged change. I have to give them props for that. Okay, I'm just gonna say this after reading all of the in grade school posts. You are not a neckbeard in grade school. All teenagers are awkward as heck. 10-year-olds even more so. Particularly since they are just starting to dress themselves. Neckbeards are the people who don't take their social faux pas from high school and learn how to be an adult who can associate with other people. Until you can grow beard down your neck, you don't qualify as a neckbeard. 11th grade. God dang, 2011 was a bad year for me. I became self-aware around senior year, but towards the end, and even then I still became more self-aware only in the past year. That was also when I started shaving my neckbeard as well, but now I have a trimmed, well-kept beard. I thought I was some kind of musical genius for some reason. I was super into Tool back then, and I remember I told freaking everyone that I was gonna make a 4-song prog rock metal concept album on Conic Sections. Yep, I can't listen to Tool or Dream Theater anymore because they bring back so much cringe. Back then I was also all frickin' friend-zoned me. If I could meet my 17-year-old self I would slap the crap out of me. The summer after I graduated high school, me and my buddy got into wearing fedoras. Not because we thought they were cool or anything, we just thought it looked funny and we enjoyed them. We wore them with cut-offs and gym shorts and dirty jeans at work and just whatever. We didn't behave like neckbeards, we just looked like them. Well, about a year and a half later I made a Reddit account and that's when I realized how horrific my corncob pipe smock and fedora wearing phase was. God, I hate so many things about the choices I make. I like your honesty. Most of us were pretty awkward at some point or another. No worries bruh. Entering a long-term relationship really put my balls in check. I used to wear an ugly fedora, play in a prog rock band, self-profess my music elitism, and blame the women who friend-zoned me as being superficial. Seriously, date someone who will make you a better person. Prog rock is still cool though. I was never a neckbeard, but that was only because I couldn't grow one for crap. I was, however, a total fedora all through middle and high school. I didn't even realize it until my freshman year of college when a girl I asked out told me flat out that she didn't see me romantically at all, but she'd be totally fine with going for coffee as friends. I was pee at first but said yes in hopes that I could turn her around on the matter. She called me on my balls after about 12 seconds and said, I want to get to know you better, but if you keep acting like that, we can't be friends. I don't know why, but it got to me. I guess I realized that I valued her potential friendship more than her potential as a sexual partner. She quickly became one of my best friends in the entire world, and she helped me through a lot of issues with girls throughout college. Moral of the story, you can change, and the friend zone can be the greatest place in the world. During the years 2008 to 2009 I played World of Warcraft 10 hours a day and was failing school because of it, got extremely overweight and lost a lot of good friends because all I wanted to do was play WoW. I didn't go to my formal because I had a raid on and needed to be there. Oh, how I look back and cringe at those days. Not really sure how I got out of the phase, but I haven't touched WoW in 2 years. Go to the gym 5 days a week and so far I've lost 26 kgs. I have a girlfriend and I moved out of home. I still play video games but it's really just a hobby and I never play more than 10 hours a week. I was never really a neckbeard. Far too shy up until senior year of high school. The kind of oh crap someone is talking to me, what do I do level of shy. I wore cargo pants exclusively until sophomore year. You know those pockets on the side? Perfect size for an R.A. Salvatore novel, which I am pretty sure everyone made fun of me for. Also had a really goofy faux stash and these ridiculous wire rim glasses. Went to the gym. Started actually hanging out with the few friends I had, etc. I've ran into more than one girl I knew from high school since then who suddenly began asking why we never dated. We never dated because I was the social equivalent of a goblin. I think I am one. I mean, I don't quite have the style down. I lack the little neckbeard, and I don't go wearing a fedora with a t-shirt everywhere, but I find that I cringe at my own social interactions after the fact, almost daily. I want out, but I don't have the social skills to change it : so I just try to say as little as possible. When my first girlfriend, high school era, dumped me, I spent the next solid week or so hounding her, asking her to explain why, and then arguing with her over the reasons she grudgingly gave me until she eventually just stopped talking to me. This was around the same time I also taught myself to use a sword from watching Rurouni Kenshin. Yep. Penn Jillette recently mentioned on his podcast that at Penn and Teller shows, you could tell who the Penn and Teller people are, and you could tell who the Penn people are. He wasn't negative about it, said he loves his people, just that you can tell. So I'm standing there waiting for the show to start, and I look around, and there are all these guys who look like Bizarro me, or I'm Bizarro them, and we are all just avoiding eye contact with each other, shuffling our feet, clearing our throats, trying to avoid thinking about the fact that we are all nearly identical and far less clever and original than we had hoped. I don't know what I need to change yet, but I'm working on it. Also, I'm sure some of them are here now. Hi, guys. See you over at our atheism and our libertarian later. Ugh. Oh geez. Reading this thread just made me realize that I was a neckbeard back in high school, at least to some extent. So a few girls moved into my church group, and since there were no girls my age, I instantly jumped towards them to be their friend. Partly just to be friends with them because they were my age, but mostly because they were girls. So I began being super freaking creepy to one of them, but she shot me off entirely, so I backed off. The other girl though, wasn't able to be as forward with me as her friend. She took my compliments and everything and just was really nice with me. Of course I figured this meant she had a crush on me as well, so I get more into her. I start tutoring her in math. She wasn't the best with school, and she would pay me with cheesecakes or other food items. There were times when our group of friends wanted to just go hang out at the park, and I'd get insanely jealous that she would want to play instead of study with me. So we would go and I'd mope, or I would just head home and be alone. It peaked at when I was so nervous just to give her a hug, because I had never been physical with a girl before. So we orchestrated this whole event where I would hug her after finals and we were going to meet up and everything. And so we did, and boom, I thought there were sparks and we were going to get married and grow old together. I wish it ended here, but in our last couple years she got her first real boyfriend and I instantly hated the guy. He was an arrogant douchebag who was a player and all that, and I was the nice guy who helped her do math, did her homework for her, like seriously wrote a 2-page report in first period because she forgot to do hers. Anyway, they kept going out and I kept ragging on her over MSN Messenger and AIM saying how bad he was and how she should go out with someone better. They eventually broke up, not because of me at all, but before they did I freaking wrote her a song. Now we exchanged notes all the time and I had at least 100 handwritten and folded notes from her. But I decided to write her a song, to the tune of You Raise Me Up by Josh Groban. It was so cringe-worthy and all about how she drops me down instead of raising me up. Thinking back on all those, I never really saw how cringe-worthy it all was. Anyway, I eventually cooled out with her, became normal friends and stopped worrying about our life together. Mostly because I found another girl to attach myself to and be cringy with. I've talked to those friends recently and found out just how much of a creep they thought I was. That hurt a lot to hear, but I moved out of the awkward cringy phase and have moved on with my life. I never really realized how bad it was until I wrote it all out. 2 years ago when I was a sophomore in high school, 15-year-old me had just discovered Reddit through Rage comics when they were good, or at least I thought they were. And after browsing Reddit for a couple months, only browsing our funny and RF7U12, I stumble upon our atheism. And though this was a totally balanced and legitimate source for arguments, I would constantly post memes and pictures bashing religion on my Facebook, thinking that all religious people were stupid. This went on for a couple months, until the time with the whole Chick-fil-A thing. I posted a picture bashing on them and just got completely wrecked in the comments. And after that moment I took a step back and said to myself, God, I'm a complete butthole and don't have any real arguments besides biased anonymous users on the internet. So after that I unsubscribed from the subreddit and became a much more chill person. Oh, and also I had a fedora because I thought I looked classy. I might have a picture from my junior prom with it on, I'll try and find it. I was in my early 20s, looked at my thick, partially matted metalhead hair, dumb long goatee and BitTorrent t-shirt in the mirror one day and shaved them both off and chucked the shirt. Never looked back. When I realized I blamed everyone else for my shortcomings, and that I constantly, though I was too nice, I haven't had much going for me, but I've stopped the self-pitying attitude and the trying to leverage kindness for intimacy bulls. I feel like most people that have full-blown neckbeard personalities don't have good older role models to kick them into shape. I had some pretty positive role models, my 2 older brothers, that helped me stay level-headed when I got down about girls, or whatever. If it wasn't for them, I'm almost positive I'd be tipping my fedora into the conversation right now. Geez, reading this makes me wonder what the female version of a neckbeard would be called, because I think I was a she-beard neck girl in my teenage years. I'd go full Nazi over stuff like pop music and religion cause I thought believing in the opposite made me enlightened. I'm now a chronic gamer and barely go outside, so this post is making me cringe at myself pretty hard. Also, I just realized my so is totally a neckbeard. Frick. I used to watch My Little Pony. I stopped after I watched a video of a con and realized who I being grouped with. I used to be proud of watching it. When I think about any sentence I said about MLP, I feel awful and try to forget. I used to watch a thing, but then losers watched it, so I noped out. Not a neckbeard, but in one of my graduate classes in math there was this super obnoxious dude with a literal neckbeard who would spend the whole class on Reddit and then pipe up to insult the teacher's spelling. I then realized that these people exist in real life and are not only douche squad commanders on the internet, but with standard people that they interact with in RL. Ugh. I too lived through the phase of being a useless, lazy, brooding, depressed, self-righteous freak throughout pretty much all of high school and a few years afterwards. And it's frightening to see how many symptoms cliches I lived up to within the stereotype. Expected a relationship to fall into my lap because I was nice and not an alpha douchebag? Check. It pains me to recollect how freaking poisonous my personality was back then. Bitter atheist? Check. Still atheist, but significantly more understanding and compassionate than my years as an anti-theist prick. Listen to brooding, depressing, angry nu metal garbage? Check. Granted I still enjoy many of the artists still, but the way I enjoyed them and involved it in my self-loathing and self-pity is definitely cringeworthy. Ignored tangible concern and pleas from friends and family? Check. I definitely made myself home in the rut I dug myself into, and sadly made no effort whatsoever to get out or change. Stereotypes aside, my depression was feeding the lifestyle, and it was killing me from the inside out until after some family and financial troubles surmounting, I had an epiphany. I needed to stop being such a dang pea and make life worth being happy about for once. I realized I had responsibilities, obligations, a duty to make life better not only for myself, but for those around me, especially friends and family. And with that, I buried my depression, got a job, finally got out to live on my own and not leech off my parents, and things have been looking better since. So yeah, for any prospecting time travelers out there, be sure to slap the crap out of past teenage me. In my late teens, I lost a bunch of weight, but as many people who were fat for a while and lost weight can tell you, it doesn't suddenly make you feel like you're attractive. I was really accustomed to being the fat guy, so when I found out I was actually attractive to the opposite sex after losing weight, I was like a kid in a candy store. If, of course, by kid in a candy store I mean, manically pestering every woman I encountered to try and get into her pants. Well, there was this really hot waitress at the restaurant I was cooking at and she had just broken up with her boyfriend. So I figure, hey, now I've gotten in. I was an idiot. We all go out for drinks after our shift and everyone is laughing and cutting up and I decide to give her an unsolicited back rub. I was an idiot who didn't respect personal space. I ignore the fact that this is making her uncomfortable. I was an idiot who ignored social cues. Now this was way back in the late 90s and Austin Powers had just come out. I swear on my stack of Transmetropolitan graphic novels I said this and thought it would work. Waitress's name. Let me ask you a question, and be honest. Do I make you frisky, baby, in front of all our work friends? She looked me dead in the eyes and said flatly, number. I got the hint. I decide to give her an unsolicited back rub. Sweet mother of restraining orders. What the frick did you just call me? A neckbeard? Well, I sure as crap don't have any facial hair on my neck. Now if you will excuse me, I am gonna go play WoW. Later, loser. Or, after reading the first couple of words I was expecting the guerrilla warfare copypasta. I wasn't cool in high school, so I decided I was going to be so uncool that it would loop back around to cool. When I realized that dressing in black and talking about the merits of communism wasn't getting me laid, I stopped. Well, technically I never had a neckbeard, and never was fat, though I'm in the skinny fat camp. But since I'm ugly, and my physical shortcomings can't be fixed with the bro mantra of get fit, get far, just have confidence, short height, balding with seborrhea, receding jaw, ugly face, and did swear off socializing when I was 11 for some self-important reason, which I realize it was childish. I do fit the other criteria. Never was sexist, though I do look down on people who think women can do no wrong. Like those that post half-athapan whenever someone posts one of those scumbag girl memes. as though there was no woman in the world that could do that, or think are better somehow. And double for those who think women are some different species that have special rules and customs, instead of just another person. In particular, how they try to justify that women care more for personality than looks, men are the shallow buttholes. I cringe when I see that. And since I didn't socialize during my teen years, I can't do that now in my 20s. And since I'm in my mid-20s, it's already too creepy having someone who hasn't ever gone out or partied or had a GF or anything hang out with you. If I admitted as much, or just became evident by not knowing the social cues, I'd become a bigger pariah than I am. So I am a friendless loner and are for very alone. But I don't resent people for looking down on me or not liking me. I do resent people for pitying me, or for trying to justify their behavior by making me a butthole by default, or trying to paint themselves and society in general as much more forgiving and open than what it really is. It's fine, it isn't. It doesn't have to. Who wants to waste their free time having to school a feral, socially stunted man-child in how to socialize? Why waste your time with a sexually inexperienced, boring person who's unattractive to boot when there are so many better options that are both more interesting, fun, attractive and sexually skillful? But trying to pretend you don't care about those things, and it's just that I don't try and are a prejudgmental butthole. Yeah, that brings the argumentative neckbeard in me. Oh, I do work and study, so I'm not in the neat camp. Don't have time to work out or be fun, though. 12 hours of class and 40 hours of work and 12 hours of homework and 56 hours of sleep and 3 hours of commuting 5 equals little to no time for leisure. There was this girl I had a crush on in my junior year in high school. She was a pretty girl, not model worthy, but I thought she was cute. I had a CD player and I was playing some classic rap music. I got 5 on it, smoking on dat weed. My earbuds that I listened to my music through had wax build up. My appearance alone was cringe. I didn't shave, and wore a sweater to conceal my girlish tee. Did I mention the dirty gardening shoes and gym pants that I was too ashamed to change out of? I went to class early because she did. I decided go get inside slightly later than usual. I sat next to her. I had friends that sat on the other side of class gigging at some sucker with a crush and a dream. She acted like I didn't exist at first. I said hi the same way a first time autistic customer says hi to her escort. She said it back and looked at her books. However, looking back now, she was actually looking away, trying to give me a hint that get the frick out of my space creep stare. I then put on some music, inserted that nasty earbud in my ear and played song number 6 on my battery taking CD player. I got 5 on it, smoking on that weed. I got 5 on it, lalala on dem trees. I didn't even smoke. Still don't. And I was just procrastinating. After several minutes of being that guy sitting somewhere new, quiet as an unloaded gun, I said, wanna listen to this song? Ever heard of the Lunars? She said yeah I have, so I offered her that nasty earbud and she blindly put it on. The teacher had enough of this crap. He said get back to your seat. Stop trying to get girls in class. I was awkward. I was creepy. Now embarrassed. I went back to the buddies and they welcomed me with laughs. The entire class was laughing like a third world child with no hands. Thinking the situation can't get any worse, the teacher demanded my CD player. I left it on even. The songs changed. The chances I had with that girl had changed to absolute zero as well. The whole class was now silent. If I had a easy button to erase my existence, I would have pressed it undoubtedly. Dude puts on the cheap earbuds and sings along with the music. Stressed, automatic rounds catch em while they sleeping. I'm the last mo. Seriously, this isn't you. I'm going to tell your parents about this CD if you listen to it again. And by the way, that's no way to win over a girl. Everyone laughed again. After class, that girl I wanted to ask out but didn't have the balls nor the hours to work up the courage to drop them. She went under the wing of some freakishly large black guy. My confidence was shot. I couldn't compete with that. Maybe if my parents were rich, but not in the condition I was in, not with this godforsaken patchy neck beardo, and male teen boobs to boot. I said hi the same way a first time autistic customer says hi to her escort. Quiet as an unloaded gun. Like a third world child with no hands. This writing. About a year and a half ago I was subscribed to that men's rights subreddit. I changed that when I realized that there wasn't some kind of global anti-men conspiracy. At the same time I also went through a phase where I watched My Little Pony. That ended when a former roommate brought over a hardcore Brony fan and introduced him to me. I've never had another dude make my skin crawl like this guy. Ex-neckbeards. I've looked at a post history of some of the people posting as ex-neckbeards and I can assure you, judging by their general attitudes towards women, they're still neckbeards in everything other than appearance. My first high school dance. I realized there's no way a girl would go with me and I couldn't go with friends because I actually didn't have any. It got pretty bad. Hadn't shaved for a while, fairly neckbeardy, gaming 20-40 hours per week, practicing martial arts. But then I saw this thread and had a moment of realization that I like it that way. Practicing martial arts. That could either be counter neckbeard or super neckbeard, depending what you practice. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.